Welcome on board. Welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Welcome to Enuani Cultural Forum. Welcome. This is Enuani Cultural Forum. Today we are looking at the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. But first, I would like to ask for your permission to share this video to my audience on other social media platforms. I'm encouraging you to also do so. All right, so welcome back. Welcome back to Enuani Cultural Forum. I am your host, Onwade Ngozi Fortune, and I'm welcoming you to Enuani Cultural Forum, where we promote the rich cultural heritage of the Igbo people. Today, like I said earlier, we are looking at the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. And as we say in Igbo proverb, someone will say, who is he to talk about the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom? So I will begin by introducing myself as Onwade Ngozi Fortune, the son of Ijebusoma, daughter of Nweke, the son of Ndoka, the son of Akeke, the son of Ogai, the son of Okuni, the son of Diei. I have brought myself back to the kingship of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom through my mother's lineage. So, I am a bona fide Ogwashi-Ukwu person by my maternal lineage. My mother is from Agidiehe in Ogwashi-Ukwu. So, I will proceed. As Nwokuni, Nwadie, I will proceed. I'm also encouraging you to please share this video to your audience, because recently a group embarked on a journey to twist the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. And I said, no, that will not happen under my watch. I procured this book. Look at this book. Look at it. Let me read out the name for you. Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom, third most powerful kingdom west of River Niger after Oyo and Benin empires. This is a very big claim, but I will ignore it. It was written by Ben Nkoye-Wabua. This is the second edition. The book was first published in 1996. This copy was signed by the author himself. It was first published in 1995 and then later revised in 2020. I have a copy of it, The History of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. So, this book is at least 30 years old. Okay? Published in 1995. From 1995 to today is comfortably 30 years ago. So this book was published 30 years ago. And I'm going to read. I'm going to read to you the founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. Ogwashi-Ukwu has, as every Igbo community, Ogwashi-Ukwu has 9 founding lineages. 9. Ebu Iteneni. Ogwashi-Ukwu is an Ebo Iteneni. That means there are 9 lineages that make up Ogwashi-Ukwu. So going ahead to interview one of the lineages and conclude that that lineage can speak for the entire Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom is wrong. There are 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. Please, if you're just joining us, share this video to your audience. I would like us to pay attention to this video, because there are other videos circulating online distorting the history of the origin of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. And I'm going to use this book and my knowledge as a person who is vast in the history of Enuani communities to correct that lie. Ogwashi-Ukwu is called Ogwanri. But let me go into the founding lineages. Now, what we call Ebo is a federating unit or kindred in Enuani. The 4th realm in the arrangement for traditional governance in Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom is Ebo, which forms the basis of federation in the kingdom. At the founding of the kingdom, 9 federating units with great potentials of serfdom were identified as being interested in coming together to work out the basis of forming a federation. This is why Ogwashi-Ukwu is only a short form of Ogwashi Ebu Iteneni, meaning Ogwashi-Ukwu of 9 federating units. Such founding principle had not changed in the land, as all federating units have kept faith in the basic principle of the founding of the kingdom. At this level, a traditional title as the prestigious Ozo or Agana could be initiated and performed. Traditional respect must however be paid to the royal palace and the people of Ikerike, the first settlers in the land, through an evening visit to officially inform them of one's intention to take the Agana traditional title that would certify one a man, okay, in the land with full rights to talk and be heard. Now, we have just established that in Ogwashi-Ukwu, to become a man, you must go through this rite called conferment of the Ozo title. Which people take Ozo title? Ndi Igbo. But let's continue. I'm going to list out the 9 federating units, the 9 lineages that founded Ogwashi-Ukwu before other lineages sprang up. The 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu are as follows. Ikerike. Those are the settlers who migrated from Anidu. Azungu, Umudei, Obobo, Obaho, or called Obani, Agidiase, Agidiahe, where I said my mother is from. Obumo Okuni, Okuni Buwadie, and Obehago. These are the 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. Now, we are going to look at something very important, which is what is the origin of Ogwashi-Ukwu and who are the aborigines. The aborigines of Ogwashi-Ukwu are called Ndi Ikerike. Ndi Ikerike. They are the Ikerike people, and it is their Diokbala that I saw in a trending video saying the entire Ogwashi-Ukwu people are from Benin, and that is not true. So I'm going to read out a bit about the history of these Ikerike people who came from Anidu, who are considered aborigines of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. Both traditional and empirical sources give credence to the claim that the Ikerike people were the first set of immigrants to settle in the present Ogwashi-Ukwu. So far, no counterclaim has been made on this. According to Ogwashi-Ukwu intelligence report by Mr. J.E. Joe, and the then Assistant District Officer of Ogwashi-Ukwu District, dated 9th April 1936. The Ikerike people from all indications migrated from Benin to settle where they are found today because of a reign of wanton persecution of subjects by the Benin monarch Obaeweka II. At the head was Odigye Ikehike with his younger brother Ado, who later founded Adonta within the area. The Ikerike migrants were politically and socially averse and would not therefore evolve an orderly method of governance, even though they were small in number. Jules' report went on to point out that because of such indisposition towards the effective means of governing themselves, it did cost them the political leadership of a kingdom they were first to settle in. Rather, Adaibo, Prince of Unri, I want you to pay attention to this place. Rather, Adaibo, Prince of Unri, later came and was in charge of the situation and imposed leadership based on Igbo customs and tradition on them, and what later became Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. Mind you, this author spells Ogwashi-Ukwu as Ogwashi, U-K-U-W-U. Ukwu means big, not U-K-U, U-K-W-U. Adaibo imposed republican system, however, later gave way to the hereditary system of the Beninese. Other sources have it that the Ikerike people migrated from Okwu land in the present Ndokwa local government area of Delta State and made an abode in a big aji tree that had fallen long before they came, which they converted to a traditional home like that of the Okwu people. However, going by their culture of scrambling for meat, to which Odaibo objected, they could be seen to have come from Igala land, where to this day the culture of scrambling for food or meat is an acceptable norm. I am reading from the book Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom by Dr. Ben Nkoye-Wabua, and we are trying to correct the misrepresentations of the origins of the founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. Ogwashi-Ukwu was founded by 9 federating lineages which I have listed earlier, and one of them are the people of Ikerike, whose history I just read out. They are from Anidu. I'm now going to read the origin of Odaibo, the Prince of Uri. Following court historians and other sources, there was a Prince of Uri in present-day Anambra State by the name Prince Odaibo, who had to be exiled for defiling one of the royal palace wives. He, the Prince of Uri, had to leave his father's kingdom for the Enuani, a spot in present Obani of Ogwashi-Ukwu. He left with large followers, including his sister and his brother Oboli, who by accident or fate fell with his first spot at the spot where he was compelled to settle. Adaibo was later to settle somewhere at Enuani, where he got himself a wife from among the Ikerike people, with whom he had so much interaction and who had benefited from this intervention, especially in terms of orderliness in their social life. Now, Odaibo, a prince from Uri Kingdom, founded Ogwashi-Ukwu. Before he came, there was no place called Ogwashi-Ukwu. There was no place called Ogwanri. It took a prince from Uri to found Ogwanri, and he met a group of settlers who came from Benin. It was called Anidu. And he even took a wife from these people. It will interest you, as people always say, that because they married Igbo wife, their language changed. Odaibo married a woman from Anidu. Their language did not change. It remained Igbo. it is still Igbo. Those of them in Ikelike still claiming to come from Benin are still bearing Igbo names even up to today. So I'm going to take time to read out the history, the true history of the origins of Ogwashi-Ukwu. What I just did was to read out the founding lineages, which I have listed out as 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. So you are going to bear with me. I will have to read so that you know how the kingdom came to be. So we'll take at the making of a kingdom. You are going to be very patient with me. If you can, like this video, share it with your audience, invite people to come and watch. We are looking at the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu from the text, Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. This book was released by the palace 30 years ago. So, at the close of the year 1090 AD, according to the book now, there was a crown prince of Unri whose name was Odaibo. He happened to defile one of his father's wives. When the unholy act leaked out of the palace of his father, the people pleaded that he be asked to go into exile, contrary to the law of the land and against the condemnation of his father, the king of Unri land, that he, Odaibo, be killed or sacrificed to the gods of the land. As a crown prince and heir apparent, Odaibo was accorded some royal treatment. A good number of slaves and aides were assigned to him for the journey, which destination demanded remained largely unknown. Odaibo also had the sympathy of his brother Oboli and his sister Akeze, who wept and asked to be allowed to follow their beloved brother. The request was granted, reasoning that since their mother had died long ago, nobody will see to their welfare in the palace. Court historians are, however, quick to conclude that the event leading to the exile of the crown prince is suspect. Allegedly, the second wife of the king, the stepmother of Odaibo, was interested in having her son as heir apparent to the throne of Unri land. She knew Odaibo was very much liked by his father, being a good wrestler and a hunter of repute. She used the most beautiful queen in the palace to achieve her aim. Odaibo, who was himself carried away by uncontrollable lust for beautiful women, fell into the sex trap that became source of his undoing or unmaking. Before the great departure, a wrestling group had arrived for a contest with the people of Unri. As the first fight progressed, nearly all renowned wrestlers in Unri land were fell. A great fear gripped the local organizing team, who viewed the remaining wrestlers in their side no match for the visiting team. The king of Unri was himself apprehensive over the level of shame it would cause to his domain if all wrestlers were defeated. As he regretted the absence of his son Odaibo, someone approached the king and whispered into his ears that Odaibo was yet to live. The king then ordered that Odaibo should come to fight their opponents. As the crown prince appeared in the wrestling ring, he fell the other side and was carried shoulder high. Nonetheless, he had to leave the kingdom as earlier decided. However, before the momentous departure, his father, the king of Unri, gave Odaibo 2 small pots full of charms and asked him to settle wherever the pot fell. His brother Oboli took one of the pots while Odaibo had the other. As he approached the river Niger at Onitsha, he took a lot of tact to convince some fishermen at the bank of the river to ferry the team across the waters. At the other side of the shore, the movement to an unknown destination appeared tiresome, and though as they had to travel through the rainforest of the Niger Delta. That was the 11th day. In the afternoon, they resumed the journey southwest. As a good hunter, Odaibo made a game of the easily available wildlife which they encountered on the way and provided his entourage enough to eat. For days they wandered in the thick bush, and with the aid of the sun's position, Prince Odaibo kept the journey on course. Early 1091 AD, they arrived at the location where the small pot on the head of the brother Oboli fell. Prince Odaibo pondered for a moment, and his mind quickly reflected on the instruction given to him by his father, the king of Uri. He, however, hesitated because the distance he had made away from Uri home and her people was not safe enough for him. He asked Oboli whose pot fell to settle there. He then moved further distance away from Oboli by crossing the Ogwashi stream upward to a position where is today called Enuani, in present Obani in Ogwashi-Ukwu. Another source claims that it was the Kelike area that the pot fell. Before Odaibo left Oboli, he specifically urged him to use his new abode that was several kilometers away to monitor any search party for him, and to, in the greatest sense of urgency, run towards to allow him. Oboli then settled at the spot where the pot fell. The pot of destiny had fallen and initiated a major road through it. It was intended to monitor any search party that might come for them from any of the Igbo kingdoms east of the river Niger, as the Great River was later named. Now, let me continue, but I want to clarify here that it was Oboli and another man from Isu who founded Ibuzo. So this location where Oboli's pot fell near the Ogwashi River was where he settled. He met another man from Isu, and both of them founded Ibuzo community. They are called Ndi Igbo Binuzo. Some people call them Ndi Obolinshi. Some call them Ndi Ibuzo Isu na Mbogo. So that is for Ibuzo. But let's continue the story of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. Nothing of such happened. That is talking about a search party. However, the road later became a main road and trade route to Onitsha Mili. Oboli later took a wife and began the building of a sister palace, eventually known as Igbo Binuzo. And which contraction is Ibuzo, now in Delta States, as I said earlier. Oboli was a great hunter, fighter, and farmer. As Ibuzo grew in size and population, he organized the collective homage tradition for Odaibo on an annual basis, and in total reference to him, after whose line of destiny was the founding of the emerging Ibuzo. The homage entailed the contribution of yams by every farmer in the domain, which would have to be taken to Odaibo's palace in Ogwashi-Ukwu as a gift. In turn, Odaibo would always accept the gift with thanks and prayers for continued peace and progress of Ibuzo. This is the relationship between Ogwashi-Ukwu and Ibuzo. Thank you so much, my brother Arinze the King, for this gift. Thank you so much for the super thanks. Okay, so while in his new abode, which he named Ogwanri, we have gotten to the main point. Please share this video. I want us to clarify that Ogwashi-Ukwu has an Igbo name, not a Bini name. Contrary to what some people are peddling on social media, a very short video that is not up to 15 minutes to distort history, to set a wrong agenda. It is clarified here that while in his new abode, which he named Ogwanri, located in Enuani, Prince Odaibo farmed around for subsistence and took the advantage of the abundant forest surrounding for game. During one of his outings, Prince Odaibo discovered the small settlement of Ikelike people who lived inside the hole of a big tree. At a spot, there was a great noise and confusion among oversharing of meat. With his royal bearing and princely inclination for boldness, Odaibo, incensed by the scenario, ordered a halt to the disorderliness, and the people had to obey. Odaibo subsequently directed that the meat be shared, of which they all complied with. In spite of communication difficulty with the people of Ikerike, who spoke the indigenous tongue of Bini, some sources say Okwani or Egara, Odaibo suggested that the meat be shared into 4 portions, symbolic of the 4 days of the traditional Igbo week, and by the youngest man among them. After the sharing of the meat, he inquired about their order of seniority, and the allocation was done in order of seniority as prevalent in the Igbo custom. This is wonderful, and this is great wisdom shown by Odaibo. He asked the youngest person to share the meat and asked the oldest person to pick. Exactly what my mother does to us. I told you earlier that my mother is from Ogwashi-Ukwu. This is not coincidence. The smallest member in our family will share meat after we have finished eating, while the oldest person will pick. You cannot share and pick. The sharer will be the youngest, the picker will be the oldest. This is what is described here in this book. Exactly the same wisdom my mother applies for her children, and she's from Ogwashi-Ukwu, is what Odaibo has applied here for the Bini settlers that he met. And that was how he became their king, by instituting orderliness in their midst. It was just this lineage, out of the 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu, it is just this one, the Ikerike people that are from Benin. Just this one group called Ikerike people. So, Prince Odaibo's intervention with his meat sharing formula based on the 4-day week philosophy was very much admired by the Ikerike people, and his fame increased among them. And the others who heard of it, Odaibo was subsequently or consequently asked to attend all their meetings with special recognition for him as a head or overseer of such gatherings, so as to benefit from his wisdom and all other matters. The only obstacle that stood in their way to smooth social interaction was that of language. Odaibo spoke Igbo, while the Ikerike spoke their Bini language, or according to some quarters, Okwani or Egala, all of which have now dissolved into the commonly spoken Ogwashi language, which is Igbo language, with Okwani, Egala, and Bini accents. Over time, Odaibo moved closer to the people by taking a wife from among them and had many children as the preliminary action and interaction that gave birth to a powerful city-state that would later become Ogwashi-Ukwu, were taking place. Okay, let me take this again. As the preliminary actions and interactions that gave birth to a powerful city-state that would later be known as Ogwashi-Ukwu were taking place, elsewhere in Benin land, there flourished an age-long powerful kingdom that later spread to the area. By the turn of the 9th century, the Ogiso dynasty had come into being with full power, empowerment of their kings as the paramount rulers of the land. However, the Bini people became disenchanted with all kings that ruled the empire under Ogiso dynasty, and the republican system was adopted to further interest of the empire by giving the natural rulers greater powers to pursue expansionist policy. Now, we have established here that Ogwashi-Ukwu was founded by a man called Odaibo. But I would like us to also dig deep into the name Ogwashi-Ukwu so that we don't have any confusions. Okay? This is the name. Let's look at where the name came from. Filled with joy that the Oba's emissary, that is Oba of Benin, usually sends emissaries to come and check some of these places and see where the lost princes can inhabit. The Oba's emissary interpreted Ogwahe as Benin, filled with joy that he met a friend indeed, Adaibo, commended the disposition of the Oba's emissaries, went added Ukwu to Ogwahe to read Ogwashi-Ukwu. Ukwu in Benin language means great. Subsequent interpretations of this therefore means a palace of greatness. And since this great meet, the palace came to be known as Ogwashi-Ukwu, while the Igbo pronunciation has it as Ogwashi-Ukwu, which is also fondly called Ogwari Adaibo or Ogwashi Adaibo. Ogwashi Adaibo or Ogwari Adaibo. Another version on the meaning of the new founded land has it that Odaibo on arrival had to build an obi, a small hall. Please, let's take this thing that I'm saying very serious. I may be reading from a book called History of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom. But it is important that I read from a book so that you take it serious. This book was published 30 years ago and it tells the true history of Ogwashi-Ukwu. Now we're looking at the name Ogwashi-Ukwu. Is it a Benin name? Is it an Igbo name? That's what we are considering now. So pay attention. Another version of the naming of the newfound land has it that Odaibo on arrival had to build an obi, a small hall, as obtainable in his father's palace in Enri. In sighting the hut, he chose to build it by a path which served vital link from Benin to the great river Niger. This was to enable him meet on a regular basis such use of the path from and to Benin with relative ease, apparently satisfied with the structure he had built, which looked like his father's obi in faraway Enri. He named it Obi Adaibo. Traditional sources give credence to the Ikerike Aborigines as having christened the entity Ogwahe after the Benin tradition of building a small meeting house known as Ogwa at the front yard of a natural ruler. In Benin tradition, an Ogwa means royal palace or a royal palace of destiny. To some extent, this historical claim could be justified since the culture of building an Ogwa in Benin is still popular as to the present day. However, the founding of the building of a strong city state has been laid. Both Odaibo and the emissary of Benin Kingdom or Benin Empire resolved to hold periodic consultations on issues affecting the destiny of the newfound entity. The emissary on his own accord entered into a definite accord with the exiled prince of Ori, especially on organizational patterns and kingship for the future entity. Over time, regular consultation forums, especially between Odaibo and the emissary, was enlarged to include aides, special assistants, and advisors who were to form the nucleus of the new city-states in the making. At each gathering, Odaibo was the proper recognition as a prince and a good organizer. Thus, he usually presided over all deliberations between 1137 and 1186 AD, a period of about 50 years. Regular meetings were held with the people of Ikelike. I will stop here. What we have been able to establish is that Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom was founded by 9 founding lineages, one of which was Ikelike. And the leader of this Ikelike people was named Odigie Ike, and they had migrated from Benin. This Odige Ike, who led the migration of Ike people, is from Benin. The Diobala of Ike people is the person who leads the crowning or coronation process of the Obi of Ogwashi-Ukwu till this day. That is just one of the 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu that I listed. So the 9 federating units of Ogwashi-Ukwu, only one, led by Odige Ike, claims ancestry from either Benin, Igala, or Ukwani, any of these 3, according to this book. So, Ogwashi-Ukwu is an Igbo community named after Igbo language, Ogwa-Ukwu. Ogwa-Ukwu. So it is either called Ogwashi-Ukwu. Odaibo is an Igbo migrant who settled in that land. Ike is a Bini, Igala, or Ukwani migrant, and a migrant is not an aborigine. Anytime the word aborigine is used, it means there is no record of where the person migrated from. It's like the same way we will say that Igbos are autochthonous, they are aboriginals. Because you cannot say for certain that this is where Ndi Igbo migrated from. So, this story of Odaibo migrating from Unri to found Ogwashi-Ukwu is authentic. It is reliable. It was published in a book written and published over 30 years ago. So the current revisionists and distortionists, those who will go to one lineage out of 9 to make interview and conclude that Ogwashi-Ukwu people are from Benin, I would like you to go and look for this book. Go and look for this book, Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom, by Nkoye B. Wabwa, and read. Read. It is very important to read, though. Very, very important to read, because when you read, you avoid some certain mistakes. It is when you read that you are able to avoid certain avoidable mistakes. Some mistakes are avoidable only if you can read. I have been able to read and also do physical research. That was why when I saw the article claiming that the Obi of Ogwashi-Ukwu is from Benin, I laughed. I laughed very hard, because the Obi still lives in Umudei, an Igbo settlement. The chieftaincy titles in Ogwashi-Ukwu, in the palace of Ogwashi-Ukwu, aside from the Obi, are Obi Onihe, which is greeted Ogene, Iyase, which is greeted Onoun, Odafe, greeted Ede, Ihono, Igwoba, Iwagwe, Ogude, Ozoma. These are the titles you will find in Ogwashi-Ukwu Palace. They are the core traditional chiefs, and they are Igbo titles, except one which I mentioned as Iwagwe. That sounds like a Bini title. So all others are Igbo titles. The Bini title notwithstanding, because of the influence. The marriage customs of Ogwashi-Ukwu are according to Igbo marriage customs. Ibamanya, Ibanku, according to Igbo customs. Iwaji, Iwoji, Igomo, Ilofejoku. The taking of Ozo title as well. So these people who claim to come from Benin also take the Ozo title. These people are very funny. You are from Benin, or you claim to have migrated from Benin, and you take Ozo title. Aside from the Ozo title, you equally do Igbo Agana. All these are Igbo cultural practices. So they point outrightly to a person who has migrated to an Igbo land from Igbo land. Where is that Igbo land? Anidu. Most people do not know that majority of the inhabitants of the place called Anidu were Igbo people. If not, if there was turmoil, if there was trouble, if there was chaos in Benin, why are you running towards the river Niger? Why not run towards Lagos? Is there no river in Lagos? Why not run towards Awuchi? Going towards Kogi? Why run towards the river Niger? It shows you they are running homewards. All right? We are not taking away the stories of the elder who was interviewed from Ikerike, but we are saying that there are 9 founding lineages in Ogwashi-Ukwu. You cannot interview 1/9 and conclude that Ogwashi-Ukwu people are from Benin. It is insane. It is a misrepresentation of history. It is a disgrace to research. It is appalling. It speaks of intellectual laziness to have gone to a community that has 9 founding lineages that I mentioned, and you interview 1 out of the 9 and run with it and conclude that since you have interviewed 1, you have interviewed all. It is wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? So I am sure, I'm very certain and convinced that we have done justice to this topic. All right, so I've been telling you that Oboli, the brother of Odaibo, founded Ibuzo alongside another man. That man is called Umeje, and Umeje came from Isu. All right, Umeje came from Isu and settled in that place called Ibuzo today. By the time Odaibo came, by the time Oboli met Umeje, there was a bit of fear. There was fear. There was fear, that palpable fear, that there may be crisis, there may be fight between the two. But that fight was averted. It was averted with wisdom, in such a way that they did not confront each other anymore. Umeje and Oboli were able to coexist. So the people of Oboli in Ibuzo till today are still there. They are still there. I've read out for us the 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. I would like you who just watched this video to also take note of those 9 founding lineages and know that one cannot interview, you cannot interview 1/9 and say, okay, let's run with it. That's not how history is done now. Cannot interview 1 lineage out of 9 and say, okay, I have interviewed them, therefore this is the history. That's not how history is done, okay? History demands that you do this side and you do this side. You make sure that all the sides have been thoroughly and well represented before you draw conclusion, or you even leave us to draw our conclusions by ourselves. Okay? You cannot share and choose. You cannot share and choose. Okay? In this case, our researcher who came to do revisionism shared and chose. It is wrong. Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom was founded by 9 founding lineages which I mentioned earlier. And I said those 9 founding lineages cannot be overlooked, can never, ever be overlooked. I mentioned the 9 founding lineages as Ikerike, Azungu, Umudei, Obobo, Obani, that is Obaho, Agidi Asei, Agidi Ahe, where my own mother is from, Obumo Okuni, and Ogwashi-Ukwu. There are 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. And one went out to interview just the first one, Ikerike, and concluded that because the Diobali Ikerike, who is the Obala of Ogwashi-Ukwu, Obala means you are the oldest person. Okay? Now the person who was interviewed, very, very funny. His name was an Igbo name. He's saying that they are from Benin. And then the interviewer ran with it to spread falsehood. Balanced research and reporting means you ask the 9 lineages their origin. When they have answered you, you come out and post your findings. You don't ask one and you conclude with it. So in conclusion, I am stating emphatically and with proof, documented research book, that Ogwashi-Ukwu was founded by Odaibo, a prince from Unri. He founded Ogwashi-Ukwu. Ogwashi-Ukwu was founded by 9 federating lineages that I mentioned. I began with Ikerike, Azungu, Umudei, Ogwashi-Ukwu, Agidi Asei, Agidi Ahe, and Ogwashi-Ukwu. There are 9 founding lineages of Ogwashi-Ukwu. And those 9 lineages, only one traces her origin back to Benin. That is Ikerike people. So because somebody heard that the Ikerike people trace their origin back to Benin, he ran to Ikerike and conducted an interview where the oldest man confirmed what has already been documented, that he is from Benin. And then you conclude that because the people of Ikerike are from Benin, therefore Ogwashi-Ukwu people are from Benin. That's wrong. Also concluded that it is not Ogwashi-Ukwu, it is Ogwashi-Ukwu UKU, meaning Great Ogwash. No, it is Big Ogwash. History of a community is not only told by the community, it is told by that community and their neighbors. I am from Ubuluku, Ubulu, UKWU. I am from Ubuluku in Delta State. We are neighbors to Ogwashi-Ukwu. We are not the only ones who bear the name. We have Ubuluku, Ogwashi-Ukwu, Iselukwu, Onichukwu. Ukwu means big, not great. Our own name, Ubuluku, is from a big tree. Everybody knows Ubulu in Igbo land. Now that Ubulu tree, the one in Ubuluku was very big. They call it Ubuluku, the big Ubulu tree, not the great Ubulu tree. Big, Ukwu. These things look alike, but we must state it how they are. That is why I'm saying this. So that somebody doesn't wake up tomorrow and say Odaibo. It's not Odaibo, it's Odigeibo that is from Benin. No. Odaibo is still the founder of Ogwashi-Ukwu. His daughter took over from him. His daughter Odu took over from him. Odu had her children through Dei. Dei is believed to have come from Enuani. Eventually, when Odu could not continue, her son continued. So the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu is well documented. It cannot be twisted. So what the Diokpala of Ikerike lineage stated is absolutely correct. But that does not define the whole of Ogwashi-Ukwu. It defines the people of Ikerike who lay claim to Benin ancestry. They migrated from Benin. Whether they are from there or not, we don't know. Some also say among them that it is not Benin, that it is Okwani. Some say no, not Okwani, Igala. Okay? So that is just one lineage called Ikerike, 1/9. Somebody cannot interview 1/9 and draw conclusion. It is wrong. It is a misrepresentation of history. It is wrong to do so whenever you go out to do research. So I want to use this privilege to thank you for joining this live broadcast, and I want to encourage you to please give us thumbs up, help this video to come up, share it to your audience, like this video, Biko, share it, and also give us super thanks if it's convenient for you. In case you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to this channel. I am Onwode Ngozi Chukwuka Fortune, and this has been the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom examined. Thank you for joining me. Do have a very powerful night rest. It's already evening here, and I'm about to hit the bed. Look through our channel. You will see the video I posted. The video I promised that I would post concerning our brother who works with a radio station who went ahead to say that Delta Igbos are not Igbos. Thank you so much. God bless you. One name. Obona, thank you. God bless you. And then Irene Zechuku, thank you so much for this super thanks. This person posted Bible. What we are doing here is not Bible something. Thank you so much. Ndode Ume. Thank you so much, everyone. Please give this video thumbs up. Help the video to come up on the algorithm. Also share it to your audience. I don't want to mention the name of the channel that did this, but I'm sure you have seen the video distorting the history of Ogwashi-Ukwu. That is my purpose of making this video. I don't want to give them any credibility by mentioning their names. Those are carpenters, not historians. You cannot come to a community that has 9 founding lineages. You interview one and you post it all over social media. That agenda will not fly now. Not when people like us are still alive and on the internet space. It will not work. Not even for a place as close as Ogwashi-Ukwu. Okay? Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom bu Ebo Iteneni. Ela bu Ebu Iteneni. Most Igbo communities are Ebu Iteneni. 9 founding lineages. 9 Iteneni. Some call it Itoolu. That is in Igbo Izugbe. Ogwashi-Ukwu Kingdom bu Ebo Iteneni. 9 founding lineages. Dalo n'ike agwọ m. Kechifu eni. Umune mundi Igbo. Dalo ne kechifu eni. God bless you all. Thank you for joining this live.